Welcome to CCCF Children's Sunday School. Let's worship the Lord together.
When upon life's billows you are tempest-tossed, when you are discouraged thinking all is lost, count your many blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Are you ever burdened with the load of care? Does the cross seem heavy you are called to bear? Count your many blessings, every doubt will fly, and you will be singing as the days go by. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. When you look at others with their lands and gold, think that Christ has promised you his wealth untold. Count your many blessings, money cannot buy your reward in heaven or your home on high. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. So amid the conflict, whether great or small, do not be discouraged, God is over all. Count your many blessings, angels will attend, help and comfort give you to your journey's end. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done.
Review of last week's lesson. God fights for his people. Our job is to stand firm, trust in him, and see what he will accomplish. We should continually offer praise to God for what he has done and will do for us. Today's Bible verses is found in Exodus chapter 15, verse 22 to chapter 17, verse 7. God preserves Israel.
Israelites went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and find no water. Now when they came to Morah, they could not drink the waters of Morah, because they were bitter. And the people complained against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" So Moses cried out to God, and God showed him a tree. When Moses cast it into the waters were made sweet. There God made a statute and an ordinance for them, And there God tested Israelites and said, If you diligently heed the voice of the Lord your God, and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees. So they camped there by the waters. And then the Israelites journeyed from Elim and came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month, after they departed from the land of Egypt. The Israelites complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness that they had no meat and no bread to eat, and started missing their days in Egypt, and grumbled they would rather die in Egypt than die in the wilderness. God heard the Israelites' complaints. God provided the Israelites bread in the morning and the meat at twilight. By God's provision, the Israelites can know He is the Lord their God. For bread, God said to Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain quota every day, that I may test them whether they will walk in my law or not. For meat, quails came up at evening and covered the camp. The bread is called manna, God's bread from heaven. In the morning, the dew lay around the camp. When the layer of dew lifted, there on the surface of the wilderness was a small round substance as fine as frost on the ground. It was like white coriander seed, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. When the sun became hot, it melted. The children of Israel ate manna 40 years, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. God's specific instructions regarding manna. Every man gathered it according to each one's need, 1 omer for each person, according to the number of persons. No one leave any of manna till morning, otherwise it bred wounds and stank. Because on the seventh day, Sabbath to God, there is no manna can be found in the field. People can gather twice as much manna on the 6th day. An omer of manna was put into a pot and laid up before God in remembrance for generations that God leads the Israelites out of Egypt. All the congregation of the children of Israel set out on their journey from the wilderness of Sin, according to the commandments of the Lord, and camped in Rephidim. But there was no water for the people to drink. The people thirsted there for water, and the people complained against Moses and said, Why is it you have brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst? The Lord said to Moses, Go on before the people, and take with you some of the elders of Israel. Also, take in your hand your rod with which you struck the river, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and the water will come out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so. in the sight of the elders of Israel. God can turn bitterness to sweetness. Instead of complaining, we can pray and carefully tell God our problem. By faith, we put our trust in Him and count His blessings that God has given us. We can start praising God that He can turn our bitter water to be sweet. God can turn our problem to be our blessing. In today's story, the Israelites complained against God because they desired to eat meat and thirst for water. They could come to God and praise Him for how great things God had done among them, such as part the Red Sea, and prayed and believed God's promise that they will enter into the promised land. God will provide resources to fulfill His promise. Manna and the water will become a symbol of God's miraculous provision, Jesus Christ, the Son of God. The way God provided physical life by giving manna illustrates how God provides spiritual life by giving Jesus Christ, who is the living bread. Jesus said, "Whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst, but the water that I shall give him will become in him a fountain of water springing up into everlasting life."